Africa is increasingly a forgotten continent, often only singled out for its innumerable wars, famine and suffering. In countries like the Sudan, the hardship of daily life has been compounded by war. Often the only remaining local and international structure able to respond to the needs of the forgotten is the Catholic Church. It is this universal church that provides a voice for those who are voiceless.
Welcome. You really came the right time. Just the right time.
Yes,
how are
thank you?
Welcome, welcome.
For almost 20 years, the Sudan has suffered civil war. A war between North and South, between Arab and Black, between Islamic fundamentalist and Christian. Despite the recent hope of an internationally supported peace plan, the consequences of the conflict are terrifying. 3 million dead, 5 million displaced, hundreds of thousands widowed and orphaned, and with each failed harvest, displaced refugee, bombed hospital, the needs born of deprivation grow ever greater.
You feel the war. If you have stayed here, you feel the effects of war in your life because the lifestyle has changed a great deal. Most of the people now have become people who are in need.
I was terrified when I found myself facing the field of ruins. Hardly 2 or 3 houses were left standing. All the remaining ruins date from over 10 years ago. Bombed and destroyed by the war, buildings which were never rebuilt from then. Of course, people no longer live in these ruins. Instead, trees grow inside, and numerous roots have taken their place.
The Sudan, a former British colony, gained independence in 1956, only to plunge into a civil war. The Islamic Khartoum government modified the nation's laws in accordance with Islamic law and introduced the Shari'ah against the wishes of Christian and animist Africans in the south. The Catholic Church and its institutions, as the only major opposition force, became a primary target of the Khartoum government.
And somebody told me it has been also said in a rather official form that some people in the government consider the Catholic Church to be the greatest enemy of the country.
The Sudan government soldiers, called Mujahideen in Arabic, means the soldiers of God. They try to demolish the cathedral out completely. Even the cross, you can see, they try to shoot the cross and the statue, but it is a miracle. You can see no bullet has touched the cross. The bullets are all repelled. This is the Sun Minor Seminary. So in 1990, when the people ran away, Sudan government bombed it with Antonov. We don't know exactly how many people were killed behind. Of course, people died. People died in a large number. So they knew very well that this is a seminary. So because these are Christian institutions, that's why they bombed it. After bombing, they mined the area. In case if the seminarians or any of the priests could come back, they could be really attacked with the landmines.
In spite of the hardship, some local priests have decided to stay with their flock.
It was security risk, it is personal risk now. If you are willing, all right. But for me, as I was willing, I did not want again to go to refugee. As far as the Christians still remain inside here, I don't want to go. So that's why I remain inside the bush, moving with the Christians.
The missionary has to become a jack of all trades. In our day and age, in the poverty in which we live, we cannot simply read a page of the Bible and send the people home. The church is contributing to trying to take away this poverty by encouraging them with our presence, by staying with them, by making them realize that our presence here is to tell them that their life is meaningful, that they are people who have a dignity.
We have witnessed a very strong church presence, especially as represented by the clergy. Young clergy, devoted, involved, and wishing simply to be helped to build among the ruins 2 or 3 rooms that they could paint and renovate so that they could live amongst their flock. I also remember how in the Rundurumba pastoral district, a place lost in the middle of nowhere, there were 2 young priests, fresh from their studies, far from everything they knew, a minimum of 4 hours from the nearest impassable road, without water, without radio, without vehicle, without motorbike or bicycle transport. One must see for oneself to truly appreciate the measure of their commitment to stay in these inhuman conditions, in this intolerable heat.
Despite the often intolerable living conditions, missionaries continue to come to the Sudan to serve the local church, a sign of hope and an expression of solidarity with the suffering faithful.
Africa is the crucified continent, and southern Sudan specifies that very much, that here there is a lot of difficulty for the church, for Christians generally, for the people as a whole, with war and with various kinds of persecution, authorities wanting to exert their power and prestige and privilege, and making it difficult in some ways for the church personnel and for the ordinary Christian.